You felt it this morning. Maybe you woke up and something was already wrong. Not a specific thing, just a feeling. A low hum underneath everything, like a radio station you can't quite tune out. Your chest was a little tight. Your thoughts were already racing before your eyes were fully open, and you told yourself to stop, to calm down, that there was nothing to worry about. But what if that feeling wasn't a malfunction? What if it was exactly what it was supposed to be? Anxiety is the most common mental experience on the planet. More than 284 million people worldwide are affected by it in some clinical form. But the version that never gets diagnosed, the one that lives in your chest during a work meeting, the one that wakes you up at 3 a.m. over nothing you can name, that version is almost universal. Nearly every human being alive knows what it feels like, and almost all of them think something is wrong with them for feeling it. Nothing is wrong with you. In fact, something very right is happening. Something ancient. Something that kept your ancestors alive for hundreds of thousands of years before you were ever born. To understand anxiety, you have to travel back. Not a few decades, not a few centuries. You have to go back roughly 200,000 years to a world that would be almost unrecognizable to you. No buildings, no roads, no guaranteed meals, no safety. The world your brain was built inside was a world where death was immediate, unpredictable, and everywhere. Predators moved through the grass. Rival groups competed for the same water. A wrong step, a wrong decision, a single moment of inattention could end everything. In that world, the person who worried more lived longer. Think about that slowly. The human who lay awake at night running through possible threats, who felt a spike of alarm at an unfamiliar sound, who anticipated danger before it arrived, that person survived. They woke up the next morning. They passed their genes forward. And you are here, right now, because of them. Neuroscientist Joseph LeDoux spent decades mapping the brain's fear circuitry and found something that should reframe everything you think about anxiety. The amygdala, the small almond-shaped region deep inside your brain, does not process fear the way most people assume. It doesn't wait for a confirmed threat. It fires before you consciously register anything at all. In a fraction of a second, before your rational mind has formed a single thought, your body is already responding. Heart rate climbs, muscles tighten, attention narrows. Your entire system pivots toward the possible threat. LeDoux called this the low road, a survival shortcut so fast that consciousness literally cannot keep up with it. This is anxiety at its origin, not a disorder, a detection system. Researcher Randolph Nesse developed what he called the smoke detector principle to explain why anxiety feels so disproportionate to actual modern threats. Think about how a smoke detector works. It is calibrated to go off at the first sign of smoke, not at the confirmed presence of fire. Because if it waited for the fire to be certain, it would be too late. The cost of a false alarm is low. You wave a dish towel at the ceiling and go back to your life. But the cost of a missed alarm is catastrophic. So the detector is tuned toward sensitivity, not accuracy. Your nervous system is the same. It was never designed to be right every time. It was designed to never miss the one time that mattered. And so it fires constantly at emails and social situations and traffic and ambiguous text messages because the same system that once scanned for lions is now scanning your calendar. It cannot tell the difference. To your amygdala, a presentation to your boss and a charging predator activate the same ancient wiring. This is why anxiety feels so physical. You are not imagining the tightness in your chest. You are not being dramatic about the way your stomach drops. Your body is doing exactly what it evolved to do. Blood is being redirected from your digestive system toward your muscles. Your pupils are dilating to take in more visual information. Your breathing is shallowing to increase oxygen efficiency. Your entire biology is preparing you to either fight or run. The problem is, there is nothing to fight, and nowhere to run. That same heightened state, that sharpened attention, that narrowed focus, that flood of energy with no outlet, it is also what makes humans extraordinarily capable under pressure. Performance psychologist Michael Gervais, who has worked with elite athletes and military units, describes anxiety and peak performance as living on the same physiological spectrum. The difference is almost entirely in interpretation. The person who frames the physical symptoms of anxiety as readiness performs better than the person who frames the same symptoms as threat. Same heartbeat, same tight chest, two completely different outcomes. Your ancestors did not have the luxury of framing. When the threat was real and immediate, the response served its purpose perfectly. The anxiety spiked, the action happened, and then the system returned to baseline. That recovery, that return to calm after the threat passed, is the part modern life never allows. Because modern threats do not resolve in minutes, they stretch on for months. A difficult relationship, a financial pressure, a job that never lets up. Your nervous system keeps the alarm running because the source of threat never fully disappears. And a smoke detector that never stops beeping is not a broken smoke detector. It is a smoke detector responding to smoke that is genuinely still present. Psychologist Paul Gilbert, who developed compassion-focused therapy, argues that one of the most damaging things humans do is turn their threat detection system on itself. You feel anxious, and then you become anxious about feeling anxious. You judge the feeling as weakness, as irrationality, as a sign that you cannot cope. And that second layer of response, the shame and self-criticism around the anxiety, activates the threat system all over again. You are now afraid of your own fear, and the loop compounds. Understanding the evolutionary origin of anxiety breaks that loop. Not completely, not instantly, but the knowledge carries weight. When you feel the familiar tightening, the racing thoughts, the low hum that arrived before you were fully awake, you are not malfunctioning. You are running ancient software in a modern world. Software that was so good at its job that every single one of your ancestors survived long enough to have children. The anxiety you feel is inherited competence. It is a signal, not a sentence. It is your brain doing the one thing it has always done best, trying to keep you alive before you even know what the threat is. Evolution does not produce unnecessary systems. Nothing that costs energy and disrupts sleep and floods the body with stress hormones persists for 200,000 years unless it is doing something essential. Anxiety persisted because anxiety worked. Because the ancestors who felt it most acutely, who responded fastest, who stayed vigilant the longest, they were the ones standing at the end of the day. You are descended entirely from survivors. Every generation before you made it through. Not because the world was safe. It was not safe. But because somewhere in your lineage, a human felt something uncomfortable and tight and unnameable in their chest, and they paid attention to it. And it saved their life. So the next time that feeling arrives before your eyes are fully open, before you've had a reason to be afraid, before the rational part of your brain has had a chance to evaluate anything at all, you don't have to make it stop. You don't have to fix it or fight it or apologize for it. You can simply recognize it for what it is. A very old system, running exactly as designed, doing the only thing it has ever known how to do. Keeping you here, just like it kept them there. And when the sun comes up and the feeling is still humming underneath everything, know that you woke up this morning for the same reason your ancestors did. Not because the world became safe, but because something inside you never stopped watching.